My name is Pamina Swainaina. I'm the head of recruitment at Corporate Staffing Services. My day job involves interviewing candidates for different employers. And normally, in an interview, the interviewer takes the lead. They'll ask you as many questions as they wish. But then at the end of the interview, they'll ask you, do you have a question for us? The worst thing you can do is say, no, you don't have a question. Why? Not only do you look like a boring person or someone who hasn't done their research, but you come out as someone not interested. Because there's no way we can have a conversation for 5 to 30 minutes, because the average interview takes 5 minutes to 30 minutes, and you really don't have something. If you've also done your research or you're really passionate or enthusiastic about this job, surely there must be something you'd want to know. So, number one advice, please always have a question for the interviewer. So then again, the second question is, what kind of questions do you have for the interviewer? I would give an example of a good and bad question. And I'll start with a bad. A bad question would be, what is the salary for this position? Why? Because number one, it's always bad for you to be the first one to bring about the salary issue. Number two is asking about the working condition. I've interviewed candidates and some of them have gone to ask me now, am I supposed to work after 5? Do you guys work on Saturday? What number of leave days do you have? It's not necessarily bad for you to know this information, but so long as you haven't reached that stage, I haven't given you an appointment letter, we are not negotiating the job, I've not given you the offer, then it's the wrong time for you to bring up that question. The other wrong question, is about the benefits that the company gives. I've had instances where employees or prospective candidates, they ask you, do you offer medical? Do you have insurance? Do you offer all manner of allowances? Again, not a bad question per se, but it's not the right forum. So those are the questions you should really avoid at any cost, unless the employer brings them. So assume during the interview I had told you, you might be required to work extended hours. Then you can ask, please, could you elaborate what those extended hours are? Yeah. And then again, just keeping it brief and to the point. So what are some of the good questions that you as a candidate can ask and you really come out as professional? If it were me being interviewed, I would ask the employer, based on the job description, there are so many items you've highlighted that I'm supposed to do. Please tell me which one is the most important for this job. So an employer will tell you, we really need someone who can come here and do ABCD. Or our greatest expectation of you is if you can come and be able to sort out such and such a mess. If another good question you can ask is maybe, how do you measure success? How will you tell that I'm successful in this position? So the employer will tell you maybe by the number of appointments you make, maybe by the kind of revenue you bring on board, or the ability to keep deadlines. Yeah. So those are good answers. And I always have a guideline when I'm advising candidates. And the first guideline is always ask the interviewer a question they will be comfortable answering. I've had instances where you haven't hired someone, but they ask you, what is your 5-year strategic plan? I mean, I could even be interviewing you from a competitor. So what business do I have telling you our 5-year, strategic plan, and you're not my staff? Yeah. So if you ask questions that an employer is comfortable answering, or whoever is interviewing you is comfortable answering, then you create a good rapport. You don't also want to ask a question which is either too low or too high for this person to answer. Yeah. So just like any other interview question, the best way to ask this is when you have done your research and having 1 or 2 areas in the job description that you really want clarification.